Motion to approve them.
I will second.
Any discussion? All in favor, let it know by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. I have a little announcement to make as chair. This is my last meeting on the KTA board because we have new council, so my replacement will be Matthew DeBartoleben, who's a transit guy, so y'all are in luck with that. And I'm going on to other things. So I'm still going to be in transit, though. I work on the microtransit group with Doug and a whole bunch of other people. And I'm going to be the TPO representative, so Doug's never getting rid of me. So it's just, sorry, Doug, I hate it for you, buddy. Anyway, so that's all I've got. I've enjoyed serving with all of y'all. Y'all are great people, and maybe I'll cycle back through sometime. Any commissioner comments?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to you for your
welcome.
service and
You're
your
welcome,
commitment
dear.
to this board. I also wanted to ask a question. I'm sure this is something that I've experienced as a rider, and I'm sure you all are aware of it. I'm just curious what your all's thoughts are. I ride the Magnolia line most often, and there's a few stops along that route where there are constantly people just hanging out. It seems that they have no intention of riding. They're just using that space. And that's not, that's nothing, they're not breaking any rules. But I've noticed it does make it challenging for the drivers because sometimes they don't know if they should stop or not stop, if those people are actually riding or not riding. And I don't know what there is to be done or if there is anything to be done about it, but I'm sure this is something that you all are aware of. And I was just curious what that experience has been like for you all as far as managing that.
Yeah, we are aware of that. Typically what we do is have a supervisor just go out and have a conversation with them, see if they are planning on traveling or whatnot. Just have a conversation with them just to make sure they're not distracting other passengers or things like that nature, basically. But it's usually just a conversation.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Debbie. I will miss you. I will make sure to bother you in other ways.
Thank you so much for that. I'm grateful.
So I mentioned this last month. I wanted to give an update. So I am in the final stages of planning out. The name is TBD. I'm leaning towards calling it Ride the Routes with the KTA, but basically I want to each month have a publicly noticed chance for folks to ride the routes and for us to ride them, right? Because like we kind of get in our habits of we have our routes, but like I never ride the Crosstown or I never ride the Middlebrook or whatever, so that folks can know, hey, if you have comments, questions, concerns about these specific routes, you can come ride at these specific times. I'm still working on finalizing some stuff. My goal is to have it solidified to announce next month so that we can then put public notice and stuff. What I do know is that it will start in mid to late March. It will go until the end of September. On average, it would be 2 routes a month. Kind of in the height of summer, so probably July through September, it'll be 3 routes a month. What I'm currently looking at, mainly just for my own schedule's sake, is that 1 week would be a route and it would I would want it to be consistent so people would know when they need to show up. So the goal would be to do a ride on a Thursday at about 6 p.m. so people can come after kind of normal work hours. And then that following day, Friday, do a noon ride. So folks who have maybe not evenings, but want to ride midday can do it. And so what you would look at is like, that first week might be Middlebrook, and that following week would be Magnolia. And then the next month it would be, Central and Broadway, stuff like that. But I'm going to just verify some things with the CAT staff to make sure that there's nothing planned in terms of routes changing or when service will be added back to certain routes. And anyway, I'm just very excited about it. So like I said, goal would be that at our meeting in February, I will have handouts to give to you all so you'll know what routes are when, and then we can start advertising it, and hopefully you all can come and bring your friends and we can just have a fun, informative time riding the bus with our neighbors and work on ways collectively to make them better.
Maybe you should consider inviting council.
They will be, yes.
Thank you. That's great.
Yes, and invite all of your elected and appointed officials.
Any other comments? I don't see any lights on. Okay, cool. Moving along. Mr. Thorne.
I want to thank the chair as well as serving, and hope you make your way back at some point in time. That'd be great. So thank you for your service. I just have a few updates. I want to update KTA on our how many drivers we have. Currently, we have 156. 13 are in training. We have another class starting next week. We have 10 offers out. We hope to have 10 individuals in training next week for operations. Our maintenance staff is almost, our maintenance department's almost fully staffed. I think we're in search of still 2 mechanics, but we have come a long way in the last couple of months. We are definitely on track of meeting our timeline and our deadline for the service restoration plan, which I provided to KTA last week. We are on track for March to bring back frequency on Route 12 and Route 20. And at this point in time, it might be a little ahead of schedule in terms of bringing back service possibly in April instead of May. So again, we've made a huge headway on that. Thankful for staff putting in the time to make sure we can provide full service. The other update is in regards to downtown connector. KTA voted to make that fare free in December. We saw an increase of about 1,300 riders in the month of December over previous months. I think November's ridership was about 6,100. We had 7,400 in December. So that's good to see. Hopefully that continues to increase. I think that's it for my updates.
I have a question and a half, Isaac. How many? I guess it's 2 questions. How many drivers would you all say are needed to just be fully staffed per like what we want with Kta Reimagine?
It's somewhere around 190. I think I feel very, very comfortable with.
Okay. And then second question, can you just remind me and all of us how, and for public record, how long the free trial for the connector lasts? Is it till July?
It's don't have that memo with me. I do believe it's until June.
Okay, because I think it was a 6
June
month
1st,
trial.
I do believe, of this year.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
No more questions for Mr. Thorne. Mr. Burton, you're up.
All right, a couple of things. I represent the Transportation Planning Organization, and we're a regional transportation planning body, but we're housed at Knoxville, Knox County Planning. I'm actually an employee of planning, and there's 2 things going on there that I think might be of interest. If you remember last year, from time to time, I would bring up about the Advanced Knox meetings, which was a Knox County project looking at their land use plan. You may say, well, we're a city body. Why does that matter to us? Well, during that process, they were looking at trying to develop a little bit more denser along the corridors and develop nodes. And from time to time, I'll get questions about, well, why can't the CAT buses go out to the county? And so I think some of that's money, but the other part is that as we get further out to the county, it's just spread out further. It's very difficult to efficiently serve it with the large transit buses. So I think the Advanced Knox, with them focusing on corridors and nodes, that's a good thing that may in the future help move transit out further. They're going through the second part of that process and developing now all the regulations and requirements. And there's a meeting, that's a Zoom meeting next week, Tuesday, January 27th, from 12 to 1 that kind of gives an update and talks about the regulations, the zoning districts and uses. And you have to go to advancedknox.org. There's a website just for Advanced Knox if you want to sign up for that. So that's one thing I think of interest. The second thing is planning. We're now going to be partnering with the city of Knoxville to update their land use. And so we're right now in the process of hiring a consultant, but it'll be very similar to Advanced Knox. The city has not updated their land use map and regulations in 25 years or more. So we'll be going through that next process over the next 12 to 14 months, and I'll be bringing you updates. I know the city has a real strong desire to really work on the corridors in the city and make them more dense, and that really would help transit ridership, especially if you could get residential type of developments along the corridor. So I'll keep you up to date. Like I said, we're just now hiring the consultant, so it'll be a couple months before that project kicks off. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now, new business, KTA nominating committee. Mr. Lawhorn, you're up.
All right, so as all of you know, the beginning of each year, we take up election of new officers, our officers being the KTA chair, the vice chair, and the recording secretary. The terms for each of those positions lasts for 1 year. There is an ability for someone who has served one term to be nominated for a second term, and then they're term limited after that, which might have been the case this year, but we have a vacancy in the chair. So the nominating committee gathered after being appointed in December to consider nominations for these positions. The committee met on January 14. The committee consists of Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Rostoff, and myself. At that time, we met and determined a slate of nominees. Those nominees for those positions consist of the chair nominee, Dustin Durham, vice chair nominee, Rick Whitted, and recording secretary, Bethany Starrett. Now, update on that. Our recording secretary nominee has informed me that she will not be able to perform in that position. So we will need a new nominee. Now, historically, the recording secretary is selected either by CAT or the city of Knoxville, because we couldn't turn over any couches available to us and come up with enough money to pay for somebody. So we will gladly take service from able employees of those entities. So I'm informed that Sarah May, is that right? And she's a CAT employee? Okay. That there she is. There's Sarah back there. Sarah has gladly stepped up and indicated her willingness. So because Sarah is not one of the slate of nominees of the committee, we will need to take up that position separately with a nomination. So what I am going to suggest is that the committee recommendation does not need a motion or a second. We just need an approval. Now, there's as part of this process as well, other nominees can be made from the floor if somebody wishes to nominate someone else. The only limitations on that are, if you wish to nominate someone else, that person must be in attendance and must indicate their willingness to serve. And if they're not here, you must have a written note from that person saying they are willing to serve. So let's first start with, are there any other nominations for the position of chair or vice chair from the floor? Okay, there being none, I guess is there a desire to take up both positions of chair and vice chair in one vote, or is there a desire to just head nods will be fine? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a vote on approving the nomination of the recommendation of the nominating committee of Chair Dustin Durham and Vice Chair Rick Whitted. Show of hands for those in favor. All right. Looks like we have unanimous vote with 2 abstentions, so that carries. Now, I will need a motion for the position of recording secretary. It would be real nice if the motion were to advance the name of Sarah May as a nominee.
I'll make a motion.
All right, need a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor of Sarah May serving in the position of recording secretary for the coming year, please show of hands in favor. Motion approves. We have our officers for 2026. Congratulations.
Y'all will all do good work. We'll be watching from somewhere afar. Do we have any old business?
We have no old business.
So we're to public comments just like that? Just like that. Wow, okay. I know, exactly. We have one person signed up for a public forum, Renee Christian. Please state your name and address for the record, please. And you have up to 5 minutes.
Consistent. And when I first started writing the CAT bus, I kind of thought that it was a part of a research project because it doesn't make any sense. I've been writing buses all across the country. The routes just they're not going to an area and of picking up people into shopping areas. The Magnolia bus, it goes past 2 Family Dollars on the east side of town. Neither one of them stop in front of those stores. There's things like that. You know, the bus, I sat on the 34 bus the other day for 12 minutes. It sat there. It just sits and it idles. I believe that, a bus that isn't rolling isn't making any revenue. just the routes in general. Actually had a suggestion. My suggestion was that each of the commissioners go and ride just the downtown bus and ask yourself, a question. Where was I coming from and where am I going? And there's three buses that run that route. And again, that bus also sits idles. It isn't, and I think for a downtown bus, and especially the size of the town, of Knoxville and the hills and stuff, that a downtown bus could make some money here. If it was running, down the right routes and stuff, people from work wanting to go down to Old City for lunch. But I mean, I'm glad that somebody's going to be riding the bus because the routes just don't make any sense for a rider trying to get somewhere. So that was all I had.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's nobody else even offer to speak, is there? Okay.
Can I ask a question to staff based on that comment real quick? I've actually kind of wondered that myself because, I mean, obviously we, want our drivers to be refreshed and, I'm sure there's probably some law about them having to take breaks every so often and stuff. But I've noticed a few times because I will often go to the Cancer YMCA and whatever that route is, I can't remember right now, but the one that connects to Magnolia from like Washington Avenue, I'll often see the bus just kind of like pulled off to the side and the driver is kind of just like standing there taking a smoke break or something. And again, I have no problem with, drivers taking a break. They need to take a break. But just for the sake of, efficiency in our routes and stuff. And I've found myself on a bus once or twice where that's happened. And it's like, oh, well, God, I'm glad I don't have to be somewhere at a certain time, and I don't know if that's common, if that's something, not trying to rat on our drivers, but it is help me understand what that is and if there's a way to make that better.
Yeah, so we went through the CAT Reimagine process. We learned about what a coverage route is, what a ridership route is. Obviously, Route 23 is a coverage route. It is a lifeline service that is serving a less denser population. And obviously, Route 31 is a high-frequency ridership route. Every route we have has built-in time for recovery. So when you see that bus pulled over to the side of the road, it's not always going to be there every single hour. Certain times of the day, early morning, peak times of travel, but usually that bus is running behind. But to further clarify that, you more, Clay, or Quentin can jump in.
No, he's exactly right. There is recovery built into those routes, but a lot of times it's based on resources and the nature of the timing or the round trip timing of the route. So that can vary throughout the day depending upon how many stops it makes, how many passengers it picks up. So if it's not picking up any passengers on certain trips, then it's primarily going to have extra time in that route. It may get to a time point a little early and then have to wait. And that's because we do not encourage operators to blow through time points. We ask them if they get to a time point early, based on our OTP and things like that, we ask them to wait their time out just in case someone is trying to catch the bus. We don't leave them by departing early. So that's some of the basically part of the reason why some of the times there's some time built into the route that may be a little loose.
And just to kind of further get into the weeds on it, we also do periodically go back and check our timing, check to see how early a bus is running. That 23 route in particular, it's more so in the afternoons. There's not a lot of ridership, so they do get through the Washington Pike area a little bit earlier. We try to want to leave that time in there because there is going to be a school pickup around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. That traffic pattern changes a little bit right over in that area. So it would be nice if we could have a sliding scale on that time, but then it would probably create more of a inconsistency for the passengers. So we want to keep it kind of uniform throughout the day as opposed to, you got 8 minutes to get from one spot to another, and then later in the day it's 5, and, just to keep it on a consistent basis for our drivers. But it is something that we do kind of monitor periodically.
And as an old union girl, they also get negotiated breaks. That may be the law even too, like they get 2 15-minute breaks or something, so
Yeah,
there's reasons.
always want to make sure that our drivers have time to use the restroom. So
That's a really good idea. That's an
and
excellent
typically
idea.
that built-in, not always, but a lot of the built-in time is obviously at Knoxville Station where drivers can go get a drink, use the restroom.
just to add one more thing, we are this year beginning to reevaluate our routes more deeply based on the resources we're using since the implementation of Kta Reimagine. So some of those times will be shortened based on how a lot of times when you shorten time along the route, you have to put it either at the beginning of the route or at the end of the route. So they'll be idling more at the station or at the end of the line, something like that. So we are evaluating routes in order to make it where they smoothly get through the route without stops, without having to hold back. But like he said, and Isaac as well, sometimes based on the ridership or less frequent stops, that can be hard to manage sometimes based on the speed that the operators are traveling. We ask operators to kind of slow down and hold back if they feel like they're going to be early at a stop, but sometimes that's not the case. We got a lot of new operators in the pipeline, so just bear with us. We'll iron it out. We'll iron those routes out. Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's very insightful and just helps us to be in the know on how everything works. And so a question that I have is, just as helpful as that information was to us, how are we sharing information out to the public so that they also are educated on different things? Have there been any opportunities in the past or that we're thinking of to help the community understand best how to ride the bus and, these little things that come up so that they're aware and we're all playing on the same team. So we all understand if the bus is pulled over to the side that this is part of the schedule, you're still going to get to where you got to go on time and all of that. Is there any opportunities that are there or we've done in the past?
Yeah, we have bus training. We help people learn how to ride the bus. I'm not sure if it's talked about in those meetings with potential customers, but I can check and see. This does not come up a lot, but I think, like you said, we can do a better job of communicating how this works and why we do that to lessen any confusion for passengers. So I will check to see if that conversation is being had, and we're training that to potential customers in our travel training, and I'll let you know, let the board know, and we'll make sure if it's not that we're doing that.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that from personal experience, the system that you described works. I live near Chestnut stop, and I know I can always count on it to be there at that time, because if it does show up early, it waits until that time. And that, for me, is huge, and I think that's probably part of why you do it that way. So.
Yes, sir, you're right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if because I know some, I don't know if they all do, but I know some of our buses have the screens on it now on them that say like your next stop. Can you remind me, do they have, or if not, do they have the potential of, based on the route schedule, of adding to that like expected time at downtown station 5:05? Like, is that something that is able to be added to the screens, or would that just be more hassle than it's worth? Because I feel like, having something like that, just so you know, like, hey, the bus pulled over, you can at least know, well, I'm only going to be here for 5 minutes, because that's been part of my experience is the kind of freaking out of like, oh, what if we're here for a half hour? Because I just didn't know that's how the buses worked.
Yeah, I think we can add like dynamic timing, like the on-time performance of that shows inside the bus when we're going to be at the next stop. I do believe that's possible. I'll check to be double sure, but I know that's happening at Knoxville Station when you're on the platform, that those times are changing.
That's also happening on in the transit app too. When I use the transit app, it tells me what time I'm going to get there, and it's been accurate every time.
Yeah, I just figured it might be helpful to do it on the bus screen. Yeah.
You can also see the time change rapidly. I've found in my own experience, because I have come close to missing a few pickups. But I do appreciate, just like Commissioner Roskop said, that it usually waits on me.
So I believe it may not be on all the buses, but on a good majority of our fleet, it does actually show real time, even to the next recording stop. So as you're riding out, it'll say like, this next stop is in 3 stops, and it should estimate like 2 minutes. Kind of in a parentheses over to the side. I will see if that is something that's not showing up on all of them, and just see if we can get that displaying, because it would reassure our passengers. So.
One thought I just had, and I was trying to picture on board where this might be, and maybe it's where if it's an opportunity on the dynamic scheduling boards, but even just like a simple "Did you know" campaign every so often, where we share a fact like that of the reason the bus waits is because we're trying to stay on time, and it could change, seasonally or something, where we're bringing that education. I didn't even, honestly, I'm still new, so I didn't know about the education, but bringing that to people on board who may not have an opportunity for that.
Yeah, I think we also have a monthly newsletter that goes out to our passengers. I think that's a great place to share that as well. There, and then on social media, kind of our Did You Know campaign about some inside workings of CAT, but also this information that'd be really, really valuable to our passengers.
Any chance you could send the newsletter to the board?
Yes, I could have you add
Maybe
it.
council too, since I'm not going to be here. I'd like to see it.
Okay.
I'm not asking any favors or anything,
Okay.
but, just a little, and add a name to the list. Thank you so much. It's a shame Ms. Christian left because she could have got a lot of information from this discussion we had under public forum comments, but she's gone. So the next meeting is set for February 26th, 2026, same time, same place. And having said that, I guess if there's no more business before this body, we're adjourned. Turn the